Okay, so we are on. Let me check if we are on. Yes. I can see myself. I can also see Bernardo. Oh, the sound is perfect. Can you say something?
Yep. Is that okay? The sound is good?
Hey, I'm David Fernando, and this is Bernardo de Matos, who is an English teacher. A teacher trainer?
Not really.
Okay, so Bernardo de Matos is an English teacher, a translator, and also an interpreter. Welcome to answer my questions. I am David Fernando, the presenter, Daniel? Yes, the presenter of Answer My Questions. And this is one more edition of Answer My Questions with Dafa. If this is your first time viewing us, I hope you can enjoy this edition with Bernardo de Matos, who has been teaching English for
4 years.
For 4 years. So he's been teaching English for 4 years, and he's got lots of things to share with us. All right, there are 5 people viewing us. I don't know where they are from. I don't know where they are viewing us from, but I can see that there are 5 people viewing us right now. I hope the sound is perfect because I think it is. All right, Bernardo de Matos, who are you? Can you make yourself known?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here.
My pleasure.
I was actually looking forward to making part of this podcast.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I'm really delighted.
Ah.
Well, for those of you who might not know me, my name is Bernardo de Matos Gomes. So I am a teacher of English, an interpreter at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, and also a translator.
All right, so you interpret in a church.
Exactly.
Okay, what's the name of the church?
Redeemed Christian Church of God.
Redeemed Christian
Church of God.
Oh, Church of God. Where is it? Is it in Congolese? Going to Congolese?
Yeah, kind of. We actually have
After
a lot
the
of
bridge.
we actually have a lot of different
No,
parishes.
before the bridge coming from ShopRite, right?
Definitely, but that's not the only parish that we have.
Ah, okay.
Actually, we have a lot of different branches
Hmm.
all over the capital city.
What about the country?
Well, in the country,
Are you only in Rwanda?
yeah, we are only in Luanda.
Why? Are you only worried about helping or spreading, taking the gospel to those people that live in Rwanda?
Not really. Actually, the commandment of actually spreading the gospel
Yeah.
should be actually made possible all over the world. It's
Okay.
actually a process, and we are working to make it possible.
Okay. Where does this church come from? Oh, there are 13 people. Yes, where does this church come from?
Well, it comes from Nigeria,
Oh, okay.
and that's the reason why there must be somebody, interpreting from Portuguese to English, and also interchangeably.
Okay. So does the pastor preach in English? How many pastors are there?
Well, in my local church,
Yes.
there is a main pastor,
Okay.
and also some other pastors' aides. Those who aid
Yeah.
him.
Okay. What church did you used to go before you started going to Redeemed Christian Church of God? Yes.
Well, I was raised as a Protestant,
Yes.
so that's the same church my mother holds membership.
Okay.
Yet,
Yera.
yeah,
Okay. Yera
uh-huh,
is okay.
yeah,
And your mother still goes to that church.
definitely.
And why did you stop going there?
Well, with the passing of time, I became a grown-up.
Okay.
Then I should actually take on a real commitment for my action, a real responsibility and stuff like that. So I decided to actually be part of Redeemed Christian Church of God because I was feeling comfortable by being there.
Yeah. Okay. The first time that we chatted, I think, we chatted or we spoke, you said that you were born in Lubango. Yes? Lubango?
No.
Oh, you come from
I'm
Wheeler.
from Wish.
Oh, you're from Wish?
Exactly.
Wish?
Yep.
Lubango or Wish?
No.
Did you tell me that you came from you studied in Lubango? Yes?
Exactly.
Oh, magisterial.
Comandante.
What comandante? Magisterial comandante?
Comandante Liberdade.
In Wheeler.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh,
Somewhere along the line, I had to go there just
Okay.
to carry on my studies.
Mhm.
Then I
Okay.
came back here.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just a part of the process.
So you come from Wish?
Exactly.
Oh,
I was
okay.
born there.
Where?
I was born in Sanzapombo.
Oh,
That's the place where I was born.
okay.
But I was raised here because I came here when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can see Esmeraldo Pinto, Angelino Maturino, Chilemba Nomarca, and Jose Mache viewing us from Mozambique. Hi, good to see you on the other side. I'm happy to know that you are right there. When did you get in touch with English?
Well, actually, it was in 2016.
Okay.
In late 2016, I was actually taking Portuguese literature at university.
Yeah.
Then it just came to my realization that I was not that good.
Angelino viewing us from Benguela. Hi. Good.
Yeah. Then it was in 2016.
Okay.
I was at university taking Portuguese literature. Then it just came to my realization that I was not that good at English. Then I decided to really take English into consideration. I mean, when I was actually taking from my childhood, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was something that ran deep. I saw my uncle who was actually speaking English at the time. Then it was one of the reasons that compelled me to really embrace this dream of becoming an English speaker.
Okay. That's good. How old were you?
I'm 20.
No, how old were you?
At the time.
Yes.
Well, let's say 13, 14. Yeah.
Okay. So you did English,
Exactly.
but why did you do Portuguese at university?
Once I was actually trying some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually trying some other stuff because I had a teacher of mine who taught me Portuguese. He also inspired me to learn, not to learn Portuguese because I'm a Portuguese native speaker, but I wanted to really go a little bit deeper
Yeah.
on the way Portuguese really functions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much did you learn throughout the 4 years?
Well, I actually learned a lot of things about the language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not that much the language, but I really learned about the language and stuff like that.
Okay. What about your pronunciation? How much has it improved? Do you say como or como? What's the difference between como and como?
That's a very funny question. Well, I say como.
Why? Why did you say como?
I say como because that's one of the variation of the language. As far as I can tell,
Yes.
people from Portugal, they say como,
Yes.
and people from Angola, they say como.
Yes.
And that's a geographical variation.
But which one is correct?
I think there is no correct one.
Okay.
There is no correct one. Yeah, because to some degree, as I have actually taken Portuguese literature, I intend to graduate in linguistics.
Okay.
You know, from the standpoint of linguistic perspective, what's really matter is the capacity to express yourself. That's what really matters the most.
Okay.
Although pronunciation can actually matter to a certain degree, but as long as you are understood, that's what really matters.
And do you say phonetica or phonetica?
Sorry?
Do you say phonetica or phonetica?
Phonetica.
Phonetica or phonetica?
Phonetica.
Why do you say phonetica, not phonetica?
Well, let's say...
If Angolans say phonetica.
Phonetica.
Yes.
No, I say phonetica.
Do you say do you say phonetica or phonetica?
Phonetica.
Which one is but which one is standard?
Which one is standard?
Yeah, standard Portuguese, or which one people like you should use?
Well, let's say phonetic.
Because if you go like Daniel has been to reset, right? And you learned that the stress, the word important is stressed. It's not stressed on the stress is not on the first syllable. So you can't say important. It's important. If you've been saying important, once you know the correct stress, the correct syllable stress, so you should start saying important, not important. Now, when you go to university, people like you who did Portuguese literature, you had phonetics and phonology, and also linguistics.
Definitely.
So they taught you, I think, that phonetica, we say phonetica, not phonetica, and we say problema, not problema. No?
Yeah.
So why problema, not problema? Why phonetica, not phonetica?
Well, I think it's all amounts to the standard one.
Okay.
But apart from the standard one, you know, in my own conception, although I have been at university, but in my own perception, I think we should standardize what is most common.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do people say? Phonetica or phonetic?
What about the setting?
The
Setting.
setting. You mean the
Yes.
stress?
When you are before scholars, do you say phonetica, problema, há muito problema, or do you say problema?
But actually,
Because the rule says that when the next syllable is stressed, yes, when it's a stressed syllable, the syllable before it should be, I think, open or closed. Oh, when there is an open syllable, an open syllable, no, an open vowel. Yes, when there is an open vowel, you should close the one that goes after it or comes before it. Yes. Mm-hmm. This is Portuguese. I'm not good at Portuguese.
Okay.
So that's why problema, you should say problema, because the stress is on ble.
Definitely.
Coração, not coração.
Definitely.
Yeah? So,
I think your approach is pretty much based on grammar perspective.
okay.
I'm actually I have a linguistic aspiration, and you know, in our perspective, there is no such wrong stuff.
Wrong stuff?
A wrong stuff, even when
No, there isn't. There isn't wrong stuff. Yes.
Exactly. That's
But
actually the way.
there is standard, no?
There is standard, but the great majority of the population, you know, of the English, of the language user, they really try to get themselves a little bit astray from the standard.
Yeah.
And I think, in my own perspective, as I have already mentioned, we should consider as a standard, you know, what the great majority of the population say.
Okay.
Did you understand? Because on the other hand, you know, what the government, because that's a politic issue, they have stigmatized the society. They come and tell you that no, you have to say this way and not this way. They have stigmatized the society just because of politics perspective and stuff like that. I can actually approach somebody from Rwanda who says they can, telling them that he's wrong. Because,
But can't you tell him?
Sorry?
Can't you tell him that he's wrong?
No, I can tell him, that is wrong. Because if I do so, I'm actually going through, let's say, linguistic prejudice. When I try to underestimate a person, especially because of the way he speaks, pronounce the word, and also use the grammar. That's the point.
Okay. Now, Daniel, your students, where's your student from? Do you have students or foreign? Is it a student or students?
A student.
A student. Okay. Where is it from?
Zambia.
Okay. Does it say develop or develop? Develop. But if you go to Zambia, you find people saying develop. If you ask them why they say develop, and other people say develop, they will say because I've been to school. And in 2019, I think I taught, let me say, Freddie Costa's son, one of Freddie Costa's son. He's American. When I was talking to him, he used to say, I'm going to, not I'm gonna, or I'ma do it. He used I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, as I knew that he is American, well, he's Angolan, but he was born in the US. I asked him, why are you saying I'm going to, not I'ma do it? Why are you not saying I'ma do it and you are saying I'm going to do it? He said, because I've been to school.
Yeah,
that people who've been to school, they speak like this. And those who haven't been to school, they usually speak like that.
Well, yeah, that's the point. People who go to school, they have the tendency, to sound in a very different way because they are, let's say pretty much academically minded. And that's why they speak, this way or that way. But it doesn't actually make them better.
No,
Those people who didn't go to school and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, it's not about being better than the other speakers, but it's because I believe that when you are before scholars, then when you are before scholars, what kind of variety do you use?
The standard one.
Why? What kind of variety do you use when you are before scholars? Do you say tabate?
Never.
Why never?
Never, because I have to have that capability. I have to have that capability or even capacity to contextualize my speech, from the standpoint of social perspective, and that's the point. That's why I really do not remember the name of the professor who has stated it.
Yeah.
He said that every language speaker should be a polyglot of the language he speaks.
Okay, what did you mean?
Point. I mean, if I speak Portuguese, I have to be polyglot, in Portuguese.
Okay.
I have to be able to really measure up to some other people's, linguistic expectation. If I'm speaking to my mother, and let's suppose my mother has never been to school, so I have to speak, I have to adjust my speech so as she can actually understand me. If I'm speaking to a scholar, so I have to speak in the same way they can understand me.
Yeah.
That's the point. It's about being able to really measure,
the shape itself, the shapes, the language you're going to.
Definitely.
The variety you're going to use.
Definitely. Sometimes I really get a little bit mad at those people who start low, And sometimes they are on television speaking to a lot of people in the country or even on the road. So the way they really speak, they use those expressions, those specific expressions from their field of study. And even me myself, I cannot even understand what they are saying. Do you understand? So they have to translate it from Portuguese to Portuguese.
Okay.
So as I can understand. That's what communication is all about.
All right. So there were 4 years. You did 4 years at arts, yes? Now humanities.
Yep.
What were the ups and downs of your course?
Well-
Portuguese literature. Oh, by the way, are you a linguist?
Not yet, I'm about to.
Are you a linguist? Are you a linguist?
Not yet. I'm about to because I didn't graduate yet. I'm actually working on my
So
project.
once you have written your paper or once you have presented, you'll be a linguist.
Definitely, that's the point.
Okay. Daniel, are you a linguist? Why not?
Actually, I don't have, firstly, I don't have
A degree.
okay, formation or training to be a linguist.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we've been alone throughout 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
We dealt with different subjects. So
Yes.
I have to choose one and try to follow it so that I can get the title with linguist title or title for, in other branches of the subject that
Yeah.
I had. For a while, I'm not even presenting already my paper. I'm not.
But you're a teacher, aren't you?
Actually, I'm a teacher.
Okay.
Because the subject I had, okay, taught me. I mean, I could learn from the subject I had a bit of everything. Now I have to specialize myself on something so that I can have the title. People have been confusing those titles. Even him, if he presents this paper, won't be a linguist because he hasn't yet take a specific path to be what he wants to be. That is about it.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Russia English Club. Who is the head of this club? Russia English Club. English Club, yes.
Well, I'm the head of this English-speaking community.
Really?
Yep.
Or isn't it flag?
No. I know Flag.
I thought it was flag.
No. Flag was once invited,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually could attend it. Yeah, he went only there once.
Oh,
Yeah.
what have you been discussing there?
Well, actually, we
Tell me more about this club.
Yeah, well, Russia English-speaking community is actually located, in Russia Padaria. We've been to different places, but now we've got a very, official place. We are at a public library.
Okay.
Vamos ver crescer. We have partnership with Vamos Pensar Angola.
What is this?
And we-
Vamos Pensar
Vamos
Angola.
Pensar Angola is actually an organization, a non-profitable organization.
Okay.
Yeah, which deals, which fights on the behalf of the society and
Okay.
stuff like that. And it's actually started. I mean, our English-speaking community
Uh-huh.
started in late 2017. So from there on, we've been actually promoting English-speaking practices. And yeah, we speak about different topics from scientific, social, religious perspective, academic perspective, and stuff like that. Well,
Wait, for the first time, I've never seen Carlos viewing us. Hey, Carlos. Carlos Ramos, are you okay? Oh, even Tony Vidal, viewing us from Kazenga. Tony Vidal is well, Mr. Candido, this is a stupid question. Yes, it's really stupid question. If I ask Mr. Candido whether he knows Tony Vidal or not, he might swear at me. Yes, because both are old timers. Yes, Tony Vidal is viewing us from Kazenga. I think from. Are you still working for profit? Yes, I can see Tony Vidal, Mr. Candido. He said that Hey, Carlos. Carlos Jive viewing us from Gaza, Mozambique. Yes, Mr. Kanto said law students are taught to speak standard legal language. Yeah. Benvindo. Benvindo, Mozambique. Yes, good to see you on the other side. Okay, yes, what were you talking about?
Yeah. Continuing on, we actually deliver, we provide the topics
Mm-hmm.
in advance, and sometimes seven days before, or even 3 days before.
Okay.
So people can actually go carry on the research, because we don't want people to speak in pause.
Mm-hmm.
But when people to talk, it's based on scientific
Yes.
issues.
Mm-hmm.
So when the great day actually approaches, we get together with a moderator
Mm-hmm.
who's going to actually moderate the speech of each and every one of them. So our main purpose, as I have already mentioned is not actually to show up or even to let people know, bringing about ourselves that we actually do speak English and stuff like that. But on the contrary,
Yeah.
we just want to promote it. We just want to let people know that that's actually a very comfortable place for them to get their English to the next level.
Okay. How often do you meet?
We actually meet once in a week on Sundays.
Okay. Okay. And did you meet today or last week?
Exactly. Even before I come here,
Okay.
I was there.
What did you discuss today?
Well, we had hostess.
Mm-hmm.
I invited, I think you know him, teacher Eddie Writer.
Oh, Ed Writer from Kazenga.
From Kazenga, he's a friend
Yeah.
of mine.
Oh, he's everywhere.
Yeah,
Ed Writer is everywhere.
yeah. Where English is,
Uh-huh.
he also goes the extra mile to actually be part of it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I also invited teacher Sam Claver, as well as a friend of mine, teacher Evaristo, and the teacher Simon.
Okay.
They were actually invited to talk about the challenge of learning English as a foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were the audience on there was an audience on the other side.
Okay.
They were actually like having their attention drawn to the explanation, and later on they were actually asking questions and stuff like that. Was really a mind-blowing event.
Okay. What about last week? What did you discuss?
Well, unfortunately, last week we didn't meet, and it's only happened once in a lifetime.
Okay.
Because there was another activity from the public library going on, and that's the reason why we had to postpone it
Okay.
for today.
So you met today.
Exactly.
All right. Is there a topic which you are the head of it? So it's not a club. You say it's a community. Yes.
Yeah, English-speaking community.
Why do you call it a community, not a club?
Well, sometimes I
Or
do.
club.
Sometimes
Russia English Club. Why not Russia English Club? And you call it Russia English Community.
Well, being honest, we name it either as Russia English Community
Mm-hmm.
or Russia English Club.
Okay.
Actually, the sense of community is also included in the word club.
Okay.
Yeah, let's let's regard them as being synonymous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you do a course on club, like club leader?
No, I have never taken it before, but I think that's something that runs deep.
Okay.
That's something that runs deep, and people always compliment me on these particular traits
Mm-hmm.
of my personality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Choflo is. Do you know Choflo?
Sorry?
Have you ever heard of Choflo? Choflo Domingos.
No,
No. Choflo.
not really.
You've never heard of Choflo?
Not really.
Choflo Domingos. He's been running trainings. Yes, trainings on English club.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay,
He's
good.
a club leader. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. as an English teacher, there are some people who defend that some teachers defend that we again. Let me see, what's this? Amon, all the best. This is Amon, Josiandro, Zolama Maziku, Menga, all the best. Amon, who's this? Oh yeah, I've already read this one. Oh, Luamba. Celestino. Amon, good evening. Paulo Miguel, the owner of Aprendendo English, and Ewamangola, very nice page. If you want to know, if you want to see some pictures about Angola, you can follow this page, Ewamangola. Okay, how many people or how many members do you think are viewing us? Rocha Pinto community members.
How many of them?
Yes. How many do you think? Oh, don't mention it, Mr. Vidal. Yes.
Well, actually, I don't have the slightest idea.
Grande Bernardo, meu mano. This is Portuguese. Grande Bernardo.
Who's that? What's
meu
the name
mano.
of
This
him?
is Edmilson Jr.
Okay.
Yeah. We are on the back. Silvano! I must have you next year, Silvano. There are 2 great books for club leaders and club members by Bryce Smodley. They could help you a lot. I hope I read this name very well. Suggestion coming from Mr. Candido. Yes, some teachers defend that for you to speak English, for you to learn English, before you learn English, you need to speak Portuguese very well. Do you go along with this statement?
Well, absolutely not.
Why not?
I do not go along with this statement because this statement is very, very deceiving.
Oh, wait. They didn't complain, but there's a song.
On the background.
Yeah. I opened. Yes.
Well, continuing on, I do not go along with this statement.
Why not?
This statement is actually so deceiving. There is no need for a person to really master Portuguese for him to be able to speak English.
Okay.
Yeah, at a high level. Why I'm actually saying this? Because it depends on where you are learning English, and it depends on the way you are learning English and stuff like that. So those people who are in Angola, they are learning English. If they are learning English, they are learning English as a foreign language. But people who are in the United States of America or any of those English-speaking countries, they are going to be learning English as a second language. So I think there is no need for the person to master Portuguese that well for him to be able to speak English. Because one thing is to know the language, and some other things is to know about the language.
Yes.
Yeah.
How can we differentiate them?
To know the language and to know
Yes.
about
Knowing
the language.
knowing the language and knowing about the language.
Well, actually,
It's the same like knowing about God and knowing God.
yeah.
What's the difference between them?
Yeah. So
I mean,
let me
this
start by
microphone is much better.
Yeah.
I think that this one is much better.
Yeah. Let me say. Okay. So help me.
Wait. Okay, carry on.
Thank you very much. Well, knowing the language, but let me first talk about knowing about the language.
The same. What's wrong? Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to differentiate or even to distinguish knowing the language from knowing about the language. You know the language pretty much like a kid.
Mhm.
For instance, when a kid is actually growing up, he will actually listen a lot. That's one of the language skills that a person has to master. If he really want to talk English or even any other language. So you know the language when you know how to speak the language itself. But to some degree, you don't know how to explain the phenomenon. You don't know how to explain, the function of the language. Like those names, like, subject, object, and stuff like that. But you know about the language when you really, let's say you wanna score a high marks, at school. I know people that really are good at scoring good marks, in English, but they don't know how to speak English. So they know about the language. That's the point.
Okay.
They just master the way the language itself, function.
Do you think people who say mais melhor in Portuguese would say more better in English?
No.
Why not?
Why not? So that's a very interesting question. Well, let's say a person who says mais melhor in Portuguese,
Mhm.
so he might be prone to say more better in English.
Okay.
But it might actually happen the other way around.
Okay.
For instance, I know Angolan. They speak Portuguese. Their mother tongue is Portuguese. They started out speaking Portuguese since their childhood. Then now they are fond of English. They are learning English.
Yes.
And they have turned themselves into the language, let's say English. And they end up speaking English better than Portuguese. So my
Okay.
question, how come? Why so? You see, speaking better your mother tongue doesn't make you speaking better a foreign language or a second language.
Okay.
Or less better, that's the point.
All right. So when I was learning English, I didn't know much about Portuguese. Yes, I remember I was saying mais melhor, but I don't remember saying more better.
You see,
Because even more good. No.
You see,
Teacher, you said, well, we had comparison. You have good, better, and the best.
Yeah.
Because I didn't acquire it. I didn't acquire English. I learned it. And when you learn a language, you are likely to follow the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is another thing that some teachers are for and some are against, is the teaching of the alphabet. When you usually teach the English alphabet, do you teach it right at the beginning, like on the first day or on the second day? Some people say that it's important. Not some people. Some teachers say that it's important to teach English, or teachers should teach English Teachers should teach the alphabet at the beginning. And I remember one of my students, I think this was in 2010. One of my students said, "Teacher," it was in Samba. He said, "Teacher," it was in Portuguese. If you only taught me the alphabet, I'm sure that I would speak English very fast. Yes, in few days I will start speaking English. When should we teach English? I mean, the English alphabet.
Well, first, mainly Angolan, they shouldn't think that by learning the alphabet, they're going to be able to do what we do in Portuguese, like joining the letters or even the sounds in order to really form the syllables and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not going to, it's not going to work, when it comes to English.
Yeah.
And actually going straight to the point, I never teach the alphabet to my students.
Why not?
I only teach the vowels.
Okay.
Because the vowels are actually the particularity of the language that is going to change, more often. So the consonants, the English consonants, as well as the Portuguese consonants, they are almost the same. They have got almost the same sound. For instance, P for Portuguese speakers is pé, so it wouldn't actually give them a lot of trouble. I only teach, the behavior of the vowel in the words. I teach them that when we actually have a double E, we sound it as, the single E in Portuguese.
Okay.
That's how I really work.
Okay.
I never teach the alphabet to an adult. But if by any chance I was actually, if by any chance I was actually dealing with kids, maybe I would teach them the alphabet. Yeah, but that's not that important.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. By the way, how many members are there in Rocha Pinto community?
Well, let's say around 30.
Oh.
Around 30.
And how many of them are active?
Well, every day we actually receive a new guest.
Okay.
And actually we receive a newcomers, and these newcomers, they keep coming, for a certain length of time, and then they become actives. It's actually, sometimes it happens that they stop coming in a row as they actually used to do before.
Okay.
But we have 25 active members.
Okay.
Some of them, for some reason, they let me know in advance that they wouldn't actually make it, and we do understand it as well.
As a club leader, why do some members stop going to stop attending the club meeting?
Well, some of them really stop attending the club meeting, especially because they are busy. Other because they don't feel like they are going to learn it.
Okay.
When they go there and they meet those English speaking giants, it actually dawns on them to give up because they will never reach their level.
Okay.
It's about motivation, I think.
All right.
It's about motivation.
And do you think so? When they, what do those giants do so as to help the members, those members that are not very or that are not fluent or as fluent as they are?
Well, firstly, we don't teach. At the club we don't teach English. We just promote it.
Okay.
Because, and a lot of people might not know it, but one of the least things they are on the lookout for, without even they knowing it, is to go there for the very first time and get inspired. That's actually a place where they can actually get their motivation from.
Okay.
We don't teach, but we try to be as humble as possible. Yeah, they don't do that much, like try to help them, how to speak English and stuff like that. But as far as I know, they go there to get their English speaking abilities trained.
Mm.
And that's what we do. So we are open. We are open. You know, those giant English speakers, they are open to direct, to mentor them, to give them some kind of guidelines.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but those who are learning, those who are just starting learning, they have to be bold enough and also humble,
Okay.
and not to prevent themselves from not actually getting in touch with them. That's the point.
I didn't know that Bella's staff was Russia Pinto community's member.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
evening for you. I'm online watching our moderator, Bernardo.
Mhm.
Mario is my name, Russia Pinto.
Yeah, this name actually rings a bell.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because it says
I
our
remember him.
moderator Bernardo.
I remember him. And it's been a long time since last he visited us.
Oh, okay. All right, Daniel, could you check whether there are some questions or not? Tony Vidal said that mais melhor has to do with false friend. So when you shift, like from Portuguese to English, when you say mais melhor, and in English, for example, you want to say more better or more good, that's false friend. Okay, in your opinion, well, I can't read Mr. Candido's question because this is his first question. I can't read that because I should read, the first one should be Esmeralda. Could you find Esmeralda's question? Please. Yes. You said that, how many clubs are there in Russia?
How many clubs?
Yes.
Well,
Because,
I only-
yes, go ahead.
how many clubs do we have there?
Mhm.
Well, club in every sense of the word, I only know one.
Yours.
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You better not ask for trouble, man.
Without.
What about who? What's his name? It's okay.
Without being rude
Yeah.
or without
Oh, yeah.
bragging about it,
Does Flag have a club,
I wouldn't.
or he only has a school, or
Okay.
a school where he teaches and sometimes
Yeah.
has something where he talks about English? So it's not a club, isn't
Yeah, I wouldn't consider.
Or is it?
I wouldn't consider it as a club, but
Mhm.
as an English teaching academy
Oh, okay.
where he actually teaches people.
Okay.
But yeah, it's quite.
Oh, Monteiro. What about Monteiro? Monteiro, who is Monteiro? Monteiro is, well, I know that he also studied at one English. Now he's a master. Monteiro.
Monteiro. Let's say.
Monteiro. I
I know him.
Osmani.
Osmani Monteiro. Yeah.
Osmani Lemba Monteiro. Yes. Doesn't he have a club?
No. He doesn't have.
Wow.
Unless
Mhm.
it hasn't actually made it public.
Okay.
Because in every sense of the word, the club that we have there is Russian English speaking club.
Which is yours?
Yeah, they want to actually take part in.
Okay.
They might also gather, their students and also receive some visitors, some
Mhm.
guests. Yeah,
There's an event which is, I don't know if it's took place. Let me just try to search for it. There's an event which is to take place this month, but I don't know when. It's being organized by some people.
is that of Bayhuambo?
Yes. What's the difference between Bairro Wambo and Rocha? Yours is Rocha Pinto English Community, and there's also Bairro Wambo. Yes.
Both of them are neighbors.
Oh,
Are
okay.
neighborhoods.
Are you competitors?
No. Come
What are
again?
you? Are you competitors?
What you mean?
Do you compete?
Oh, okay. No. Unfortunately, and thank God we don't do that.
So what do you do then?
Uh,
What's the difference between? But is there a club in Bairro Wambo?
Yeah, there is a club,
Oh, okay.
and I also took part in it.
Are you a member of that club?
No, I'm not a member of that club because I'm not active. I only was there, let's say twice,
Okay.
but it was not actually at a club properly. But I went to attend a lecture, and a friend of mine who goes by the name of Fidel was
Mhm.
actually the leader of that community. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Fidel, Bairro Wambo. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Daniel, can you help me?
Okay,
Can you pick up some
okay,
questions,
well,
please?
Found Esmeralda speaking those question. I think just one.
No, you might. There might
The
be
second one,
four or five.
The first
three.
one has to do with why he's not using his, wearing his tie. You are the only one to answer this question. But
Why
the
I'm not?
second-
Why I'm not wearing a tie?
Yeah, but the second goes to
Who's that? Carlos.
no, he is Esmeralda.
Esmeralda asked me why I'm not wearing a tie.
Yeah. Now, the second question goes to Mr. which says, how did you get involved in translation? How did you get in touch in translation?
So, can I have a go?
Go ahead.
No, but I want you to answer the
it's
question
okay,
that you were
it's okay.
that you were addressed.
It's okay.
Are you not going to answer it?
I will.
Okay.
No, you are the guest.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for holding me in that great regard. Good. How did I get involved into translation? Well, I took translation course at Mediateca. Yeah. And one of the reasons that actually motivated me to indulge into this undertaking was the fact of being an interpreter at the Redeemed Christian Church of God. I thought it good, I thought it a very good idea to also have a translation course. Just to let people know, you have to be fully aware that translation and interpretations are not the same. You actually translate whenever the language runs into documents, papers, and you interpret whenever it's oral.
You go along with me when I tell you the following statement. Language is a source of identity.
Definitely,
Who's that?
absolutely, I agree with that.
Who's that?
Danielson.
Oh.
Yeah. If language is the source of identity, why do you get mad with lawyers way of speaking? Let's take it. Lawyers' specific vocabulary.
Well, yeah.
If, we know that, as we know that, we might know that each course has a specific vocabulary, and actually, this vocabulary are to be used in order to be notes that we have specialized in a specific area, and those vocabulary are first the mean to be known as someone who was trained in that specific area. Now, try to tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, good. Well, I'm gonna try to elaborate more on it and try to go into details. Well, I do understand about specific language or specific vocabularies, and that's what the role is all about, and things shouldn't actually be just the way I expect it to be. A science is actually a huge. The science itself is made up of a lot of different fields. I don't have any problems with those specific, vocabularies, part of that specific field. But what I'm actually concerned about is if they are speaking, to a worldwide, podcast or even television, they have to be, they have to communicate, and there are three items that we have to take into consideration. If you really want to have a communication, which is the speaker, the message, and also the receiver. They can speak those languages, but they have to break it down into a simpler one. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that the person or even the people on the other side may understand it. That's what communication is all about. So what's the use of me speaking, a language that I'm fully aware that a person on the other side is not getting? That's useless. That's the point. That's why I have said every Portuguese speaker should be a polyglot, in the language he speaks. You are a Portuguese speaker, you have to be a polyglot in Portuguese, which means that you have to adjust your speech, to the people you are speaking to, or to the people you're speaking with. That's the point.
But don't most of them have been, apart from using those specific law vocabulary, when they're explaining to certain people, have they been translating in order to make people understand it better? Because from what I know, is that whenever a lawyer is speaking to public television or to a broadcast and trying to explain something to everyone, he uses the vocabulary which is about the field he's talking about. But after then, he translates it or he breaks it down to simple vocabulary to make clear the audience who's listening to him.
I don't think they haven't been doing it. They haven't.
The suggestion is that they should be doing it. Right?
Exactly.
Right. Now there is a statement from Mr. Candida which says, L1 is the bridge that could help you master an L1, an L2. So it is ensured that the person must have a proficient knowledge of his or her L1 to be successful in a second language learning. I don't think it's possible to be fluent or proficient in English if one doesn't master Portuguese well. My opinion based on years of experience. That is his opinion. I don't know whether you go with his opinion.
No. I don't go. I go against.
Would you elaborate more on it?
Yeah. Okay. Let's say my mother. I'm going to say this. Out of my real experience. My mother's mother tongue is Kikongo. So we understand by mother tongue, the first language, a human being has gotten in contact with. That's mother tongue. For me, Portuguese is my mother tongue. So, bearing every saying that the friend of mine has already, written right over there. So as my mother can speak Portuguese better, she has to speak her mother tongue better as well. I don't agree. And it depends on where you are learning the language from. If I'm not that good in Portuguese and I go to England or I go to China and I spend there, let's say, 15 years and I really engage into it, for market purpose and stuff like that, I will have to go the extra mile in order to communicate with them. I might even, end up speaking better Chinese or English, rather than Portuguese, which is my mother tongue. It's happened.
Doesn't the L1 influence in learning the L2 in terms of vocabulary transfer, something like that?
Yeah, it actually does. It actually does. And as a teacher, I have actually witnessing a lot of students, having their second language, influenced by their first language, because they combine the words the same way they combine it in the Portuguese. For instance, in let's say in Portuguese we say chuva forte, but a Portuguese English speaker, when he actually want to express this idea in English, he might be prone to to say, strong rain. But that's not the way, native English speakers combine. Instead, they combine it with the adjective heavy. You know what I'm saying? And it's happened more often. That's why a language learner, should actually have his heart set on learning chunks of words, collocations, phrasal verbs, as well as idiomatic expression in case you want to sound more like a native.
Okay. There is a second question from him to Mr. Candidate, but you have already answered it. So there is now another question from him too, which says, how is it possible to be polyglot in the same language? Since a polyglot is a person who speaks more than one language, is that a new concept?
Yeah, it might be a new concept, and I feel sorry because I can actually, tell the name of the professor who, on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, but it's actually a new concept,
You get this concept from your professor, and you go deeper on this theory of your professor, or you just liberate yourself?
No, he's not my professor. He's actually a Brazilian, a highly respected and also renewed, professor linguist. He said that he went a little bit farther from the conception that we have, about polyglots, but actually the idea still remains, because a polyglot should be a person who speaks more than
One language.
not more than one language, but more than three languages, 4, 5, and so on and forth, if the memory doesn't fail me, and if I'm not mistaken. So try to really use a parallelism, to Portuguese. Let's suppose I don't speak any other language. The only language I really know and the master is Portuguese. So the idea of polyglot really is there when I know how to adjust my speech. I speak to an educated person, a person who has never been to school, and he understands me. I speak to a teacher, and he understands me. I speak to anybody, from different social standard, and understands me. Am I not being a polyglot to this sense? Yes, I am.
You mean reducing your language according to the setting you are?
Yep.
Makes you be called a polyglot?
Yeah, to this sense, to a certain degree. Yeah.
Okay. We are going to wait some more comment and question from him, because he's watching us from his place. And
Are there?
I don't know whether he's going to say something about this. But have you read some book apart from this professor going further on on his statement about polyglot. Have you also read some books and you compared, okay, his idea with other ideas, and with your own idea, you conclude that the professor was right, right or happy in his statement?
Yes, definitely. Have you ever heard about communicative competence?
Yes, I do.
That's all the same. You know?
Being competent
Yeah.
in any language makes you be called a polyglot.
Come again?
Being competent, okay, in any language makes you be called a polyglot.
Yes.
In terms of competence.
Yeah.
When you are competent while speaking a certain language, it gives you this title of being called polyglot.
Well, actually, yeah, it makes, and it's just an attempt of extending the meaning, extending the sense. And it might not be, the primary meaning or sense of the word, but with the passing of time, you can actually do it, If you are a competent in a certain language, it means that, you don't have problem to communicate. And, irrespective of the person you are, speaking to, regardless of the person you are talking to, you are able to express yourself, to make yourself understood. You are keen on this. It actually makes you a polyglot as well.
It's really a new
Okay.
concept, certainly.
Yeah, that's a new concept. Yeah, but does it make sense?
I want to answer this for a while.
Listen. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why this approach makes sense.
Uh-huh.
What if I'm speaking the same language. I'm speaking the same language, Portuguese, but you're not getting what I'm saying. But you are a Portuguese native speaker, You have never been abroad. You have never suffered any kind of, linguistic, linguistic interferences and stuff like that, And I'm speaking Portuguese with you, but you can't understand me. If you don't understand me, of course, along the way, you will have to test the channel. Can you say that again? Can you say another word? Can you say another way? Please, where are you trying to get it? Would you mind repeating that? When you really use, this kind of phrases, you mean you don't understand, you want me to translate. Do you know that have you ever given it a thought that I can translate from Portuguese to Portuguese? Have you ever given it a thought? Have you? I can translate from Portuguese to Portuguese. It's possible. If I'm translating from Portuguese to Portuguese, then I'm polyglot as well.
Well, what you're saying is normally when you're dealing with someone who's speaking in a specific area, right? And the language is going to use, okay, you're also aware of the language, you are aware of that language. So you can translate for those who are not aware of the language this guy is using. In this specific case, I agree with you. But
if you are speaking Portuguese and teacher Dafa is not getting, but he's a Portuguese speaker, what do I have to? No. That's, for instance, you use a specific language that he can't understand. So in this regard, he struggled to understand where you are actually trying to get it, and then I tell him, no, that's what it means, It means this, that. Am I not translating? Like picking up from Portuguese to a certain person who didn't actually understood the code. Am I not doing it? Of course I'm doing it.
To set the point, you are just trying to translate
from Portuguese to Portuguese.
The meaning of the vocabulary.
That's what translation is all about.
He's using.
That's what translation is all about. If you say, for instance, I got flabbergasted, at the way he was treating his mother. He was so rude, you know. Or better yet, I got flabbergasted the way he was treating his mother. If I'm translating it to Portuguese, you know, I might avoid using the word flabbergasted translated to Portuguese like estupefacto, and say another way, which makes people understand it even better.
You come up with synonyms of those words.
It makes part of, yeah, it's one of the technique of translation as well.
Okay. But Mr. Kando still here with the third question, which says, yeah, it's a question, of course, which says, we have Malians, Chinese, and many more foreigners living and working in our country. Have you ever met one that is fluent in Portuguese to the point of speaking it better than his or her native language?
No, I have never actually, you know, found any case of this. But it doesn't actually mean that it doesn't exist, because it has never run around the world, you know, to confirm it.
Ever get in touch or in contact with a foreigner and hear them speaking Portuguese?
Yes, I have.
The way they speak Portuguese, do you understand them or not?
I do understand.
And most of the time, do they use translators to make their communication easier for those real Angolans who don't actually who don't get their accent while learning Portuguese?
If they do,
Mm-hmm.
so they might use, but not an official translator. They might really, you know, ask for the meaning of the words, or even of the sentence. If I ask you, we are speaking Portuguese, and I ask you for the meaning of a sentence, you know, in other words, I'm asking you to translate it.
Okay.
Okay.
The question of Mr. Kanda is answered.
Which one?
I think so. I don't know. I think so.
We still have fourth question.
Okay. Okay. Just a second. As an English teacher, what level of Portuguese do you need to have so as to start teaching English? Or, okay, the first question. The second maybe, do English teachers need to speak Portuguese very well?
That's not compulsory. That's not mandatory. They don't need it.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't need it. And along the way, they might even speak English better than Portuguese. You know,
A teacher,
if they, yeah,
he doesn't need to speak Portuguese well to not teach them English.
What do you mean by speaking Portuguese well? Do you mean reaching the level of fluency?
Accuracy.
They
Accuracy.
do need, yeah.
They need to be accurate.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. They do
Because
need,
in any language, we are accurate more than fluent.
in what?
In any language, okay, we are more accurate.
Isn't it the other way around?
Mhm.
We are more fluent than accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why we always carry with some dictionaries, okay, and all other stuff. It's when we come across a difficult word to check in that. That's because of this.
Okay, listen. If I'm a Portuguese, if I'm an English speaker, you know, and I do speak Portuguese, so let's say this from the standpoint of already being, you know, fluent in Portuguese. If I'm fluent in Portuguese, it doesn't necessarily mean that I really master Portuguese grammar like 85%. But as a teacher, maybe I need to know the grammar. I need to know how the language really works out and stuff like that. But what really matters is knowing the right methodologies, that you are going to put into practice in order to teach. A person who wants to learn English. And me, myself, for instance, I don't pretty much get focused on teaching grammar, because grammar is all about rules. What I teach them is the usage-based grammar, 50-year-old, let's say a 5-year-old kid, might speak Portuguese, grammatically well. But if you try to ask him for an explanation of the phenomenon of the language, he will not tell you. So he knows the language, but he doesn't know about the language. What I really need to do is to teach them, the right methodologies. I don't teach grammar that's deeply, that exhaustively, and stuff like that. Yeah, I try to teach them English the way a child learn a language. That's what I do.
Mr. Candido, come up with another question.
Before you read Mr. Candido's question, when do teachers should teach grammar?
When
should teachers teach grammar? When to teach grammar?
Okay, teachers should teach grammar. I'm not saying that a teacher cannot teach grammar. What I'm actually coming up with is that a teacher couldn't really sleep on grammar, couldn't actually dwell on grammar all the time, because it really can wrap their students up the wrong way. It can actually bog them down. You know what I'm saying? So a teacher should teach grammar to those people who really have got the intention of becoming a teacher, or becoming an interpreters, or translators, or they really want to get, their English, their language inspiration, or even aspiration to the next level. Whether they want to be a journalist, they want to work as editors and stuff like that. They want to write books. They want to help people how to really, deal with the text written mistakes, and that's when a teacher should actually teach grammar.
You don't teach grammar, do you?
I hardly ever teach grammar the way the traditional, the tradition really. I don't teach grammar as a rule. What I really do teach is the usage-based grammar.
Okay.
That inner grammar. As I have already said, a 5-year-old kid may say, "Father, Daddy, I want you to give me money," but he doesn't really know how to explain it. He doesn't even know, how this sentence, really works out, when it comes to the grammar.
But do students need to know how to explain that?
No, they really don't need to know this, because they just want to learn the language.
Yes.
They just want to express themselves. They don't need to know the names like subjects, like verbs, like non-transitive verbs and stuff like that. It's
Why not?
actually useless, because that's a waste of time. Look at the child. A child can speak very well. Of course, he might actually make some, grammar mistakes and stuff like that, but he more often is going to make himself understood. He will communicate without even knowing how the parts, how the clothes how the parts of the clothes really are correlated and stuff like that. It's just useless. It doesn't really make sense. It's a waste of time.
How do you design your syllabus?
How do I
Design your syllabus.
How do I design
Your syllabus.
my syllabus?
Yes.
How do I
What
break
you
them
have
down?
to teach. What you teach. Like today you're going to teach this. Tomorrow you're going to teach that.
Okay.
Who designs the syllabus that you use at school?
Okay, let me try to answer it. So you mean what do I teach and how do I actually make it, right?
Yes.
Good. I teach my students everyday practical English.
Mm-hmm.
Contents they are going to use on a regular basis or even on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
I teach them about how to talk about themselves, how to speak about their daily routine, how to speak about their weekend plans. That's when I teach them to predict the future. But I don't do that in that boring way, like telling them this is subject plus auxiliary verb plus main verbs. Because when we start...
Don't you do that?
I don't do that. I just tell them that's the way you have to say this.
What?
Like I give them the non-changing structure.
Uh-huh.
For instance, we have be going to, right? Have be
Yeah.
going to. I tell them that if you want to predict the future, you say, I'm going to do this. He's going to do this. They are going to do this. Yeah, that's what I teach them. I don't break it down, try to go into detail, like laying down rules over and over again, because it really can be boring. Because at the time we start talking, for instance, right now I'm speaking, but I don't think about grammar, I don't think about rules. I just spit it out. You know what I'm saying? I just do it. I'm not thinking what's the possession of the subject, what the possession of the verb and stuff like that. Because if I do that, I should be very mechanic. I should be very robotic. Yeah.
Do you think using structures will make your students turn into like robot? Like say when we say I'm going, if you are talk about present perfect or be going to, we use subject plus be, is,
Yeah.
plus infinitive. Do you think using structures like this will be like an obstacle to a student?
To some degree, that's going to be an obstacle, because while they are going to talk,
Mm-hmm.
they are going to be robotic.
Are you sure?
Yes, thinking about.
Do you have any evidence?
Can I have any?
Do you have any evidences? Because
Yes, I do. Yes, I do have. It's really something very common if you go to, the great majority of the English teaching academies, and you try to strike up a conversation with some of the students.
Yes.
And some of them are there more than 7 months or even 1 year, but they still really struggle to express themselves. And there comes a time they get stuck
Mm-hmm.
on the words. When I'm teaching my students, I teach them chunk of words.
Mm-hmm.
So words that comes together, and makes the person sounds more naturally.
Okay.
Like chunks of word, combination of word, or even collocations. I also teach them, idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs, some phrasal verbs and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. But did you answer my question on syllabus? Who designs the? Do you work for a language? Do you work? Do you run your own business or do you work in a?
I got it.
You work in
Now I got it.
a school.
I work on my own.
Okay.
No, but I also work for a school. There is a private school in my neighborhood.
Don't they give you a syllabus for you to?
Yeah, they actually give me, a plane. Is it a syllabus?
No, not the lesson plan. The syllabus. Well,
What do you mean
how
by
do
a
you call
syllabus?
that?
I'm not getting
Syllabus
actually.
is what they call program.
A program.
It's called syllabus. That's called syllabus.
Okay, syllabus. I was not
Yeah.
actually getting
The
it.
syllabus.
Now he translated from English to English, you know what I'm saying? A program. Well, I'm actually working with high school.
Mhm.
Yeah, with high school, and they didn't give it to me.
Okay.
But even if they had given it to me,
Mhm.
the way I would teach them should be really different from the way a lot of people teach. A lot of teachers teach.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why students from our academic system, Angolan academic system, they don't learn the language because they are taught grammar. They might even score a very good marks because what they have been taught are rules, but they do not reach fluency, maybe because and one of the reasons they haven't been taught that often,
Mhm.
in a week. Yeah, but they give it to me. But this time they didn't give it to me. But if they had given to me,
Yes.
I wouldn't actually follow the same path, because I've got my own methodology. Because
Oh, what do you mean?
Okay.
What do you mean you've got your own methodology?
Okay.
Tell us about your own methodology. Are they written somewhere? Because we also want to use them.
Okay.
I love when people say, this is my handwriting. This is the way I write. This is my handwriting, yes?
Okay.
This is my letter. Okay, yes. Tell us about your methodologies.
Well, that's, I wouldn't say, my methodology,
Yeah.
as if I'm the one who really created them or invented them, because the methodology I'm actually sharing with you guys, have been proven to be true, by highly respected teachers and also linguistics.
Can you mention some?
Okay,
Because-
the Nelson de Lima.
Because when you're talking about science,
Okay.
sciences, you have to mention so that
Definitely, I'm gonna mention.
so that Daniel can search for them.
Definitely.
And remember, it's important when you are talking about ELT, English Language Teaching Methodology.
Yeah.
Mention ELT's linguists
Yeah, definitely.
and teachers that deal with the methodology. You cannot mention like a Brazilian teacher who teaches
Definitely.
grammar or teaches Portuguese, because English language, and you've been to magistério. Yes, magistério comandante.
Liberdade.
You did English, yes? That's, I think, that English language teaching methodologies, English language teaching methodology is different from Portuguese, no? I think the way you teach Portuguese or the way you teach maths is different from teaching Portuguese, right?
Sure.
But let me tell you that Daniel used to work for a school, which we don't want to mention, or I don't want to mention. His students, grade 7 student, used to speak. And he used to teach them.
How often were you there? How often were you there?
I think twice, yes, twice a week.
So how many students, were actually speaking at the time? How many students?
All of them,
All of them.
yes.
Mm.
He's there. He didn't tell me. He showed me the video, and I saw the video. He showed me, this is my grade 7 student.
All of them speaking.
They are
English.
speaking, yes. All of them were
Is
speaking.
it an international?
No, it's an Angolan private school.
Well, I still have my own doubts.
But he's there. He showed me the video.
Doubt it.
I think
doubt
videos.
It. I doubt it.
I saw the videos.
But I doubt it.
Why do you doubt it? If Daniel is there, he told me,
Okay.
and then he showed me, look at my students, they are practicing.
Okay, I'm gonna actually, request, the techniques has used, in the backstage. That's the point. But I wanted to mention.
Are you teacher B? Great. Okay, this is the same person at.
Okay.
I
at
wanted to
Wilson
mention.
Junior. Great man, aka teacher B. Do they call you teacher B?
Who is that? Alegria.
The same person.
Alegria.
Where is he? Edmilson Junior.
Some of them they just follow my page and they've been actually holding it in that respect.
Okay.
But I would like to mention one.
I was talking about this Muhongo
Okay.
English Club.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mohongo English.
Are you a member of this club?
No.
This event was scheduled for yesterday,
I know.
16th.
I know
what-
the three of them.
The history of English language. This was the topic.
Yeah.
The history of English language.
Mhm.
It's a lot of
that's
master, teacher. Okay. Yes.
This English speaking community or even club has been held in Bayahuambo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know all of them and they have my respect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all these teachers, all of them live in Bayahuambo.
No, teacher Osmano lives in Rosha.
Okay.
Okay. So lives teacher Flag, but teacher Albert, I don't know where he lives.
Okay.
Maybe in Bayahuambo as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow! What a topic! English phonology.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the importance of English, Old English, Middle English, Modern English, the importance of English and English phonology. Okay, that's good. Oh yeah, someone asked this question as a question on. He asked, who is a linguist? Who was that?
Who's the linguist?
Yes. Daniel, can you find the person that wrote this question or that asked this question? Oh yeah, Fabio. This is Fabio Bento. Fabio Bento Ribeiro. Good evening. Who is a linguist? That was his question.
Okay. Well, simply put, a linguist is a scientist of the language.
Okay.
Is a person who studies, the phenomena, occurring, behind the language.
All right.
For instance, a scientist studies why people from Wambo say Nde Luanda instead of De Luanda, and why, people from Wiji, have got that particular way of speaking. That's the work of the linguist. He studies the phenomena, lying behind the language. That's the point. That's why a scientist is called, a linguist is a scientist, because he goes further trying to figure out what is actually lying, behind the language. That's the point.
All right. Daniel,
Okay,
Mr. Kando's question. The fourth question. Do you believe everything you see, read, and watch on the internet?
If I do believe in everything?
Yes.
No.
Do you believe everything you see, read, or watch on the internet?
So there is no person who believes in everything he watches on the internet. He reads. I don't believe that there is such a person. A person would be actually regarded as being a fool, because it doesn't actually have a consistency. How come a person is going to believe in everything? He watches, reads, and listens to on the internet. I don't believe. Because if I could believe in everything I watch on the internet, I would actually speak in just randomly, messing things up as well.
All right, Daniel, the last questions for us to say goodbye.
It still goes against you when you said that.
Hello, Prince Marcos. Good to see you on the other side.
Vocabulary, or turning a specific vocabulary to simple one, okay, so that people can understand you, is not in the same language. Okay, it's not a translation. It says that, but didn't tell us what is it exactly. So I don't know what is it exactly. But for example, when I'm using a sentence vocabulary, for example, respaldo, okay, which means summarize, okay. If you translate respaldo into resume, for him it isn't translation. What is it exactly? I don't know. I don't know whether he might come up with some background on it and try to teach us to. It goes against. I don't know whether you agree.
Okay.
Or not.
I have got a 2 months year old, beautiful daughter, and I really believe as actually the time advances, she's going to start speaking some sentences and phrases, and some of them another person might not understand. And this person is trying to request, for the meaning, or what does she mean? You know what I'm saying? And we say, no, he means this and that. Oh yeah, that's what he means. Okay, good. So that's also a translation, because translation does not only depends. I mean, that does not only happens, in different languages. It can also happen in the same language. Portuguese from Portuguese, I can translate. If you say something to him and he seems not to understand, I can try to really go easy on him by telling him in a very simple way. That's also a translation.
Facilitating communication is translation.
Good. That's what I mean. If he doubts it, he can actually surf the web and Google it. I learned it, from university.
In applied linguistics, what we learn about baby talking is baby talking is about dealing with children. Normally deal with the key words to say the entire sentence. They just come up with the key words. Mama, water.
Yeah.
Okay. But
what about
the language? You will translate. You hearing him, the baby, saying this, and you try to convey it to someone else. Is that the translation?
Definitely, that's a translation. Apart from actually, quoting or even, saying there's a specific case, I have gone over, some other, particular aspects. Even as grown-ups, sometimes we don't understand one another. That's 100%. And we do speak Portuguese, and there might come a time, in which I'm going to be actually speaking, and what I'm speaking might not actually, reach the target, which is the communication. You might seem not to understand what I'm saying and stuff like that, and some other guy might actually do it. And it can help you to really understand what I mean. This is actually a kind of translation. The problem lies on the fact that a lot of people, they only recognize translation when it's, run, or when it's actually rent from one language to another language, but it doesn't.
When you were talking about ELT, you clearly said that you do not teach grammar. which means
I didn't say I don't teach grammar. I don't teach it, exhaustively.
No, exhaustive.
What is teaching grammar exhaustively? What's it that?
Okay.
You
Well,
don't overdoes.
exactly. I do not go overboard, because that's what happens sometimes with some teachers. That's the only thing they do, They teach grammar. They teach rules, because that's what grammar is all about. If you read the grammar, you might even end up not getting, what's written, but it's written in Portuguese, If you doubt it, you can take a Portuguese grammar and try to read it, every single times, and you will seem not to understand it because there are a lot of rules, on how to say. Don't say this, say that. This, don't say this and say that. Don't say this way, that's the right way. It really pisses the students, off. Because when I'm teaching, I hardly ever correct, their mistakes. That's not polite. That's not good. It can actually make them uncomfortable. I just let them speak. I know that, as time goes by, they are going to get used to the language.
Really?
That's what I've been expecting. Yeah, I don't say, no, this is wrong. This is right. I don't say this that often. Because how is the student going to feel like if you all the time press on saying, hey, you're wrong, you made a mistake.
No,
That's not the way you should say
you
that.
can't do it like that.
That's the point.
Okay, I think what teachers should do is to attend teacher training courses.
In terms
How
of
to teach English.
Well,
Yeah.
in terms of methods, okay, have you ever heard about grammar translation methods?
Yes, I do.
And the statement is clearly explaining that you don't use grammar translation method.
No.
So, no, yes, what you
So if somebody asks me, do you teach grammar? I would say yes to a certain degree, and I'm pressing on saying this over and over again. I teach grammar, but I'd rather teach, the usage-based grammar. You use the grammar without even being aware of, the phenomenon behind it. Implicit one. That's the point.
But what methods have you been using in order to make your student use the language? Do you use audiolingual? There are tons of methods, but there are some very known.
The most common ones.
Okay, like
Audiolingualism.
Sorry, come again?
Audiolingualism.
Audiolingualism,
Communicative
language teaching, direct method. Among those I've mentioned,
And you have approaches like communicative approach.
you got the natural approach.
You
Which
have
of those
guided discovery, TTT, some
which
other
of
approaches
these
there.
methods you've been using to make your student, because none of those methods focus on interrupting student to be correct. Okay, but
None of them.
okay, none of them. But which method you've been using in order to make the student interact with the type of language?
Because when you set a task, your students start speaking. While they're speaking, you have to monitor. Don't interrupt your students as they speak. You monitor. When you start monitoring, you start taking notes. When they finish the task that you have assigned, now you go to feedback. And feedback can be feedback. In feedback, that's where you have the correction. And the correction can be done by you, or you can pick up a student. You can write the mistake there, the mistakes that your students made. You can write them on the board and ask a student to, yes, to analyze it, so that students are practicing. For example, okay, she did, no, I did, she went behind me. No, we say to go after.
Yeah.
When we say to go behind, that's like, that's language transfer, which is ir atrás. Eu fui atrás dela, okay, so to go after. So maybe a student can say, she went behind me. Okay, she went behind me. So while students are practicing the task that you have assigned them, you take note, you start taking notes, and when right after they have finished, you write the mistakes, as I was saying, and then you can write maybe 2 questions there. 2 questions? No. 2 options, like, okay, while you were speaking, I heard. You don't say Daniel, David, no. Just while you were speaking, I heard someone saying, Daniel went behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this sentence is correct, or do you think behind is correct? Should we use behind? Okay. It doesn't depend of me. One of you said it doesn't depend of me. Is of the right preposition here? Now, students, they have already finished discussing or doing the task that you have assigned them. Through this sentence, the 2 sentences, you can ask them to discuss with your partner. Try to find the correct preposition. Do we say depend of? In a minute or in a word, say if whether this sentence is correct or not. So students practice. They speak. So you don't need to stop them. So there are techniques or methods or approaches that will help you teach grammar without going through all those clarifications or explanations, if I may use this word, and so on. Yes, Daniel, are there any questions? Oh, you're back. About your English community, how do the meetings work? What are the steps of each session? This is Mr. Candido. Teacher Zaja Candido. About your English community, how do the meetings work? What are the steps of each session?
Okay. We first, soon after we had the conversation done, sometimes it takes us 1 day or 2 days for us to provide, the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
So as people may go and search, carry on the research, surf the web, and stuff like that. When the great day really comes or even approaches, we all get together. There has been a moderator,
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's going to actually, leading the participants. We discuss about it. Each and every person is actually given a time or even a moment to discuss, to express their understanding about the issues.
Yes.
Once we are done, we have a time to interact.
Mm-hmm.
We team up. We team up together,
Mm-hmm.
if I can say so. For people over there, some other for people on the other side. Yeah, that's what we do. And we speak randomly. We try to get to know one another, more fully by speaking freely. Because sometimes we do receive, not sometimes, all the time we receive students who are not that, fluent in English.
Mm-hmm.
And when there is a topic being discussed,
Yeah.
this topic itself hinders them to not expressing themselves. So we have to team up. Then there they speak freely. When this section is done, then we come together again. We actually select a team leader, somebody who is going to avail himself to speak on the behalf of how was the practice and stuff like that. And today, for instance, we did something different, and that's going to be the first of many to come. We invited some people with better understanding of a certain topic. They were in the stage, while there was an audience on the other side. They were discussing, giving clarification and stuff like that. And then, so the audience was given the opportunity to also ask questions, suggest, and that's how we are going to be working from now on. We are going to vary, the way we work.
Okay, that's good. All right, it's time we say goodbye.
Before goodbye,
Mr. Candida's comment.
Mr. Candida's comment is all of us, including us
we English.
We EFL teachers need to start conducting seminars or workshops to discuss several teaching concepts and changing experience and challenges in the field so as to strengthen our skills and mutually help each other become better professionals. Unfortunately, there are a lot of chaos in EFL teaching business, and students are
the victims. Okay, thank you. Note, dear Mr. Bernardo Matos, it was a pleasure to have you on the show and learn from you. I wish you a safe journey back home.
Thank you very much.
Signed by Mr. Candido. All right.
Thank you
Thank you so much for being on the other side. I am Dafa David Fernando. My assistant, my technician as usual, my friend Daniel, Salomao, Upoeta, and my guest for today's edition was Bernardo de Matos, who is an English teacher, a translator, and also an interpreter. Mr. Matos, it was nice to have you on Answer My Question. Answer my question? I sometimes say answer my question instead of answer my questions. It's answer my questions, not answer my questions. Yes, it was nice to have you on Answer My Questions. I hope to see you on the other side next time, and get home safe and sound.
Thank you very much. Actually, that was both such an honor and pleasure to be here. And I'd like to say a holla back to everybody who holds a membership at Russia English speaking community, and to every followers of mine on Facebook. God bless you.
Ta-ta for today. See you.